a gusty Sunday afternoon in Toronto as we welcome you to Coca-Cola Coliseum, which will see the final meeting of the year between the Seattle Torrent and the Toronto Sceptres. Renata Fast has led all D in scoring since the Olympic break, and with no Daryl Watts in the lineup due to an illness, Natalie Spooner will be someone to watch up front for Toronto. First time that Seattle has ever played here at Coca-Cola Coliseum. Their last two meetings were at Climate Pledge, and their first meeting in team history was back on January 3rd in Hamilton, Ontario. Turnbull able to beat Aegea, but Wilgren is back to make sure no dangerous chance for the Sceptres.
Well, there's where she's dangerous. Blair Turnbull, she turns on the Jets, and she was past Aegea in about one stride. Wilgren does a nice job to stay with her.
Mentioned the Watts illness. Toronto without their top scorer. Seattle has been without Hillary Knight and Hannah Bilka since coming back from the Olympic break. Both of those stars on LTIR. And one of their best players of late, Michaela Grant-Mentis, who Steve O'Rourke said was their best player the last 3 games. She suffered an injury last time out, and she is now day-to-day with an upper body injury. This one bounces in front. Kneeling shot from Malte is broken up.
Oh, that came out funny to Malte. She gets a good scoring chance, but I would agree with Steve O'Rourke, and especially you watch the game that Seattle played on Friday night. Grant-Mentis was absolutely their best player. Work ethic, carrying the puck both ends of the ice, so that's a huge loss as well.
She played great at Ottawa as well, and then had the team's second shorthanded goal of the season in what was a comeback victory against the top team in the league, the Boston Fleet. This is Spooner working through, and Murphy able to slap it to the end boards. Toronto in their home Royal Blues. Seattle in their Sand Road jerseys, and Kirk will cover up here.
With Daryl Watts out of the lineup, that certainly leaves a hole, not only just in their forward lines 5-on-5, but in the power play. And, Troy Ryan had said in this week that we were off. We wanted to work on the power play a little bit, but, it's tough because she's really the quarterback of it. Everything kind of runs through her, so it's a situation where they hope to have her back soon. It's an illness.
She leads the season series in points as well with 5 as Toronto is offside.
Some of the players that haven't played yet, the rookie lap from Jada Havish out of UConn. She's going to get her first chance, 4th-round draft pick.
Activated about a week ago, and this is her first time in the lineup. She's on the 4th line tonight with Buglioni as well as Mara Wagner. Sydney Langseth has played in every game since the break as well. She's on the 3rd line, wearing number 71. This is Langseth in the corner now, trying to intercept it from Monroe. It squeaks past her. Woods now turns behind Kirk and settles things down.
Some really good energy from Langseth. And there's a player again, just, she played in 4 games. This is her 5th. This is her first time playing in the middle, though. She's been on the wing, so she's getting an opportunity as well as she gets in on the forecheck. And, if you're going to be a depth player or a role player, that's really going to be the key to bring some of that energy. She does a really nice job down low, disrupting, giving her line a good offensive zone shift.
Speaking of energy, the stands are filling in here at Coca-Cola Coliseum. 3rd straight true home game for the Sceptres. They lost in a shootout to Montreal in their 5th and final meeting of the year, and then in overtime to Minnesota. Hjalmarsson down low against Buglioni, taps it backhand. Havish wins a battle on the boards, steers it to Buglioni. Buglioni, centering feed goes through Wagner. And Lobdell hustles over to pick it up. That's a promising sign from this Seattle 4th line.
Well, what they desperately need, which is to get the depth scoring on this team, and team that hasn't had a lot of offense from the back end, haven't had a lot of offense from their depth from their rookies. So got some 3rd and 4th line players that are all rookies in this league.
Aegea going up against Fast in the boards. Aegea took a nasty sort of collision into the boards in their last home game against Boston. Wasn't able to put any weight on her right leg, but she came back and played average normal game against Minnesota. So what looks like it might be an injury, Aegea is powering through.
Well, and that's good news for this team, because right now they've got her on the top line.
She's gotten hot lately. Wilgren looks for a lane to shoot, and Kirk makes a pad save. Anna Wilgren still looking for her first goal in a Seattle uniform. She has 5 assists. 2-on-1 here. This is Turnbull left side. Turnbull shoots. Murphy save, and it's cashed in.
Blair Turnbull with the burst of speed a couple times early in this game. This has been one of the problems that Seattle has faced all season, is odd player rushes as Turnbull is looking to shoot that puck and recognizes that maybe she's better off to take the shot. She's got Jessie Comfer along with her, puts that puck underneath a Hannah Murphy, and it just squeaks in to give Toronto the early lead. And again, a theme, David, the early leads for Toronto.
Toronto has scored in the first 3 minutes in each of their last 2 meetings. Scored an early goal in their last matchup as Sir Dackney threw down Malte at the blue line. Seattle has fought from behind in many games this year, but very often in the first period, they find themselves down early.
Oh, it's not a place you want to be ever as a hockey player, you know, that you're consistently battling, trying to dig yourself out of those holes.
And Toronto, coming into tonight, 6 of their 15 first period goals were scored in the first 5 minutes. Again, 3 of those versus Seattle. Torrent coming off of a 4-1 win on Friday against Minnesota. This is their first road trip consecutive games in which they did not touch the ice between contests. Got in late last night around 9 p.m.
Lots of video in those situations. Steve O'Rourke telling us it kind of splits it up, the 5-on-5 video, the special teams video. But yeah, when you don't get on the ice, that's what you have to rely on.
Late goal scored from Taylor Heisey to put the finishing touches on Seattle's 3rd loss in regulation to the Frost this year. Steve O'Rourke said that's a skilled hockey team.
They are a good hockey team. There's a reason why they're the back-to-back Walter Cup champs.
Delianides trying to beat out Fast. Fast gets there with plenty of time, turns it to the neutral zone. Bryant slows things down at the red line, former Minnesota Frost herself. She's on the 3rd line this afternoon. This is Shelton. Shelton and Fast, one of the best D pairings in the league. Shelton's 2nd in the PWHL in blocks. She can do it on both ends. Bryant cuts back, gets to her forehand, and an easy glove save for Reagan Kirk, who wanted to continue play, but the whistle blows. Toronto able to steer it out of their own zone quickly, though. Brown steps up and throws it back. High shot goes over the blocker of Hannah Murphy. Hjalmarsson had a great career at Providence College. Played over in Europe for a couple of years before joining Toronto this season. 5th round draft pick out of the SDHL. Had a great Olympics as well. Scored her first PWHL point with an empty netter against the Torrent. Another icing here. Terralova has been solid since coming back. Had a 3-game point streak that she strung together. It was snapped in their last time out at Minnesota. Watch for number 2 on the Seattle side as Habish takes a hit from behind from Shelton. Brown through traffic up into the jersey of Habish, and it bounced to Wagner. Wagner gets it and shoots, and a quick save by Kirk, who had to be ready.
Shelton just fanned on that D-to-D pass, trying to go across to Fast.
Shelton hits Dalton in stride. Dalton straight up the gut, shoots, and it bounces high.
Well, there's an opportunity, too. Dalton just walked right into the slot, was able to release that puck, just didn't get it off clean.
Ice starting to open up here as Seattle can't capitalize on a rush chance there. Turnbull backhands it deep, and they go for a change. Seattle averaging 2.3 goals a game. They are 6th in the PWHL in goals per contest. Last in scoring defense. They're the only team allowing over 3 goals a game. Second most is a tie between Ottawa Gosling. Carpenter now. Carpenter backhand shot, and Kirk makes the quick save. Blair Turnbull able to spring a rush and catch Hannah Murphy and score the first goal of the game. Toronto is up 1-0. 12:02 left in the first. Sir Dackney is going to take the face-off here against Malte in front of a packed house at Coca-Cola Coliseum. With that goal from Blair Turnbull early in this one. Toronto is now tied with Minnesota and Montreal for most times scoring first in the PWHL, tied for second. Of course, three of those teams behind Boston.
Of course, with Montreal, they just don't give up a lot. So when they score first.
Quick shot, broken up by Eldridge. Interestingly, though, Becky, and you've seen it here, Toronto, the second worst winning percentage when scoring first. Just over 500. Terralova now, deep. Centering feed goes through just past Serdachny. Snodgrass now on the outside. Sharp angle shot. Serdachny missed just wide. Net front. Quick D-to-D passing between Terralova and one of three former Sceptres here, Megan Carter. She, Julia Gosling, and C.J. Jackson as Serdachny shoots and steered away out of trouble by Natalie Spooner. Otherwise, Eldridge was there. The third former Sceptre who got probably the biggest ovation, C.J. Jackson, who is backing up Hannah Murphy in goal.
She was a popular player when she was here. Julia Gosling, Megan Carter weren't here too long. Drafted, played here 1 year, but pretty big impact when they were here. How about Danielle Serdachny on that last shift? And she's having a good season. I love the progress in her game from year one in Ottawa to what she's been able to do here.
Points in 4 of her last 5. Toronto sets up shop. Spinning it around Van Wieren. To George against the boards. Against Langset.
Well, this is what you want from this line in Toronto. All three players big, physical, that they got to own the boards.
Keppel trying to jar it loose out into George's stick. Langset has won a couple battles along the boards tonight. As Brown able to tap it to the near side. Delianides can't get it out. Puck pops up. Gentry. And all the way in on Murphy, who snatches it. Already has almost reached her point total from last season. She's at 7. Last year had 8. This is the second overall pick in the 2024 draft. The raw talent is there. There's no question. The decision-making and the consistency is starting to improve, according to Steve O'Rourke and others.
Well, just watching a lot of game tape and starting to figure things out. Everything happens faster here.
Fast now at the left point. Shoots. Dribbling puck hit off the post. That took a funky bounce on its way into Murphy. Woods scored her first goal of the season last time out against Minnesota. Fast now, all the way around, shoots, and another touch in front by Woods again. That one pops up to the high glass behind Murphy.
Well, some really good patience from Fast just to hold on to that puck, make sure she's got the lane.
Moves so easily with the puck, just able to glide over to that right side and find a lane to shoot.
Her skating is incredible. I mean, elite.
This one takes a strange bounce off of the shin of Havish and popped up almost as high as the Jumbotron. Barnes now racing against Comfort. Barnes able to get inside position. Comfort 18 points last year, 9 this year. Second on the team in goals with 6. Wilgren able to ward off Turnbull. Toronto starting to get a lot more ozone time since the last break. Turnbull spits it up to Monroe, to Flanagan now. Flanagan and Carpenter pushes it along the boards.
It's the right idea. Flanagan just looked like she's trying to bank that off the end wall. She just doesn't hit the right place on the boards to bank it out front.
Barnes picks it up. Malte pressuring. Strong forecheck here from Toronto.
Active down the walls as well. The D are coming in, pinching. So Seattle may have to look for a different way out. The walls aren't open.
Monroe throws it toward goal off the end boards. Bounced out to Dalton. And pushed up by Spooner. Spooner waiting for a change as Shelvin comes on. Shelvin on the far side. Hits it down low. Spooner wrapping around. And Seattle just desperate to get this out. Is going to ice the puck.
Just a hair too far.
Big face-off won by Toronto. Can they take advantage of these tired bodies for Seattle? Wrap around. And Murphy able to close the door. Kept that left pad down on the ground, and they will be able to change here. Murphy had a great start to her PWHL career. Wins in her first 3 starts, allowing only 1 goal a game. This one's redirected just wide of her. She's lost her last 5 starts in net and faced a much higher shot volume. Had 24 saves in her only start against Toronto. Shelvin keeps it in. Spooner against Terralova. Carter now. Carter, one of many players out of Northeastern. Serdachny picks it up. She has Snodgrass. Serdachny right side tries to get a shot off. What recovery by Malte. Serdachny gets it right back though. Tries to go across to Eldridge and it's intercepted. Serdachny will not give up on the play. And Toronto will chip it in and change. Snodgrass trying to take advantage. Snodgrass with fast. And that's just a textbook play from Renata Fast.
Now she gets body position, uses her speed, gets body position, then takes her out.
Toronto strong on the forecheck and the back check here in this first period.
Emma Malte on that back check was just a beast. I mean, that's her strength, getting in on the hunt and then coming back hard. She's got lots of speed. And Toronto right now owning the walls and owning the corners.
Head coach Troy Ryan says Emma Malte is someone who is tough to play against, can be pesky, and had the game-winning goal in the last meeting between these two teams. Bounces to DeGeorge, centering feet, just missed Emma Gentry. DeGeorge gets it back. Skating back is Shelton. DeGeorge again, left wing circle. Seattle scrambling to get in position here. Backhanded to the stick of Emily Brown.
DeGeorge was in the high slot with the puck on her stick as she's got to shoot that puck. You're a fourth liner as well. You don't want to get too fancy, but everything to the net that you can.
Wide open too, right, between the circles.
She's just in perfect position to release that puck.
Brooke Bryant tried to hit a streaking Jenna Buglioni. Wilgren just trying to get it out as Flanagan throws it deep again. Seattle parked in their own zone for much of the second half of this period. Serdachny has really been the main producer of offense for Seattle since early in this game.
Seattle's really scrambling right now.
Have an arm up here. First penalty of the game. And Brown, check that, Bryant will sit for 2 minutes. We'll bring you the Toronto power play when we come back. 5:11 left in the first. Turnbull, our lone goal so far.
So Toronto's power play at 9.3%. Not exactly good, David. We'll see if they can get anything going without their usual quarterback in Daryl Watts.
Big face-off one to start things off. This power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel Paper Towel. Power through tough messes. Quick shot from Fast off the face-off win. One-timer wound up and just missed by Turnbull. Hunting her second goal. She has our lone score in this one. 4 minutes in, even, with assist from Dalton and Fast. No Daryl Watts this afternoon due to an illness. And for Seattle, still no Hillary Knight, no Hannah Bilka, and the first game that Michaela Grant-Mentis has missed. Fast able to sift through. Closed in on by 3 penalty killers for Seattle. Turnbull takes a hit from Barnes. Barnes plays so physical, even with that smaller size. Logan able to clear. Just over a minute left on the game's first power play. Brooke Bryant in the box, 2 minutes for elbowing.
When you look back at Toronto's season last year, and what really turned it around, the huge win streak that they had, was their power play, and they got it operating at 30%. So they're looking for something that'll save them right now.
Flanagan now to Harmon. One-timer, and Terralova's in great position to block the shot. She had a career-high 5 shots in these two teams' last meeting. Malte now creeping down toward the left wing circle. Flanagan right by the blue line, back to Malte. Under 30 seconds left. In on Murphy, who's able to swallow it up. Spooner has a point in every single matchup against Seattle this year. Goals in the first 2 meetings, an assist in their last. Able to pick up the stray puck and throw it down the length of the ice. Are the Torrent. One last rush for Toronto on their power play. 12 seconds left as they try to gain the zone. Throwing it up to the corner, Murphy taps it and hammering it along the boards. Flanagan can't keep it in. Carpenter gives her pressure. Bryant up and ready to burst onto the ice. We have a whistle. Becky, we talked a lot about Toronto being able to score early, especially against Seattle. One thing Seattle's done lately is score at the end of period. So Toronto has to be on guard for that. They scored with less than 5 seconds left in the first to tie it up when they last met in February at Climate Play.
Oh, those ones are a little bit more backbreaking than the early ones. I would say those late period goals, going to the dressing room between periods, having given one up.
Chalmerson tries to work through Brown. Centering feed. Got underneath Woods' stick. Shelbin waves at it. Carpenter missed Agia from behind. Agia playing with Carpenter and Gosling for the first time. Carpenter now picks it up. Gains the zone left side to a trailing Agia and a save by Kirk. Shots are 6-5 Toronto. Relatively low totals, but Toronto has had a lot more ozone time, especially in the second half of this period.
That last shot from Seattle, I think, was the first time they've really had some good possession, come in off the rush and got something. And of course, it's Alex Carpenter just slowing the game down, finding that late player coming in and making the play.
Carpenter, tied for first on the team in goals and tied for second in points. She has 7 goals, 6 assists on the year. Carter winds up, shoots, comes in on Kirk, and Snodgrass tries to punch at the rebound, but Kirk able to control and get the whistle.
Well, this one starts from a one battle in the corner, so something that Toronto's been doing the bulk of this period. This time, it's Seattle who wins the battle and is able to get it back up to the point. So Danielle Serdachny has been playing very well as she's able to spin off, push that puck out. Eldridge gets it up top, and now they go to work. And tenacious out front. She got 3 Seattle players who are swarming the net. Natalie Snodgrass, who that's got to be her bread and butter to get in tight like that.
Had the game-winning assist in the team's last win against Boston. This one runs into some traffic from Barnes. Barnes, who scored a goal in the semifinal against Sweden at the 2026 Olympics. Just 2 points on her second year in the PWHL. Good passing. Gosling down low, looking for Carpenter. And it's scooped up by Kiara Zanin.
I don't think she got what she wanted on that. And you know that Gosling can really fire a puck. That one didn't come off with a lot of pace.
The first player in the PWHL to tally 10 shots on goal in a game. That was at Ottawa in the team's second game back from break. High volume shooter, leads the team in shots.
You talk about players that have been able to really adapt to the league and have a good second year. I mean, Julia Gosling, and Steve O'Rourke told us she's averaging about 7 minutes more of ice a game this year with Seattle than last year with Toronto.
Yeah, it was a really interesting point that Coach O'Rourke brought up to us as Gentry misses just wide. It's not just about incorporating new players into getting some playing time, but how about increased roles from players like Gosling, Agia, Grant Mentis, to name a few. We go on the same list with Toronto on the other side.
Well, I think it's one of those things where they get an increased role, but they get it because they've earned it.
Right.
And you see that with Grant Mentis, you see it with Gosling, you see it that Izzy Daniels, another one that is in her second year, Vancouver. She's really earned her ice time and her opportunity.
Langseth tied up with Spooner. Less than 30 seconds left in the period. Our lone goal came 4 minutes in from the captain, Blair Turnbull, her 6th of the year. Assist from Dalton and Fast. Fast with 5 points since coming back from Milan Cortina. To the neutral zone. Tap it down deep. That should do it. Carter. 2 seconds left and 1. And Murphy covers up after the buzzer had sounded. Blair Turnbull, the game's only scorer. Second time that she has scored first in a matchup against Seattle. And Toronto's looking for their second straight win over the Torrent in their final meeting. Same lines that started the game on the ice to start the second period. Blair Turnbull will take the face-off against Alex Carpenter. Carpenter entered this game first in the PWHL in face-off wins. 57 more than second place, which is Marie-Philippe Poulin.
Of course, the percentage is a little lower Maybe Poulen's not taking quite as many because she's got Abby Rock on her line, who takes some of them as well.
Yeah, far fewer attempts as this one's redirected into the glass behind Hannah Murphy. And we get going for the second period. Toronto with it now on the left side as we look down at the ice at Coca-Cola Coliseum. Renata fast, walks the line, redirected, backhand, just missed, Turnbull again. And it got past Murphy, but was just wide. If she tweaks the angle just a little bit there, she doubles the score.
She hit the whole net.
Turnbull shoots again, and Murphy able to cover. You heard us talk to her at the first intermission. She said that this extended homestand was much needed, and that's something Troy Ryan echoed as well, giving the team a couple of pairs of 2 days off. He said 1 day off doesn't really do anything. You're just going to do your errands and your laundry. It's when you have 2 days off that you can really recover before you come back to the ice.
Well, they desperately needed it. That was 4 games coming right back from the Olympics. They were on the road, and in that 4th game, he said, listen, we're tired.
Yep.
We got to gut check and get through it.
Seattle on the other side, they are starting to play games in quick succession. Game on Wednesday at home, Friday at Minnesota. Here on Sunday in Toronto, and it doesn't get much easier. They'll go to Montreal and Boston before a matchup against the New York Sirens in Chicago at Allstate Arena. Bryant down behind Kirk. Serdachny on the other side as well, up against Harmon. Serdachny was the main producer of Seattle's offense late in the period. Throws it in front. Delianides tries to get it on goal, and marking her is Zanin. Flipped up ahead to Woods. Nice stretch pass from Jalmerson from behind the play. Delianides tries to scoop it up. A couple Ivy Leaguers down there. Mariah Keppel went to Princeton. Delianides, Cornell.
We'll forgive him of that, says the Brown grad.
Throws it for his set. Top 3 seeds, and then a mild upset. Northeastern, the 5 seed over Minnesota. This one's thrown in on Murphy, and it lands on top of her pads.
And Ella Shelton just working her way in for that opportunity. And I would say over the last 4 games, we have really seen Toronto's D activate both Fast and Shelton have the ability to do that. And Shelton just kind of takes that ice that's given to her, works her way right into the slot. Doesn't get a whole lot on that shot, but is able to get into prime real estate.
Shelton, 4th overall pick in the 2023 draft by New York. At 21 points in her first season, 16 points last year. And came over in a trade from the Sirens. Backhanded just wide by Gentry. Murphy is on her backside. This is going to draw a penalty. Shelton collided with Murphy. And we play on. Check that. Thought I saw an arm go up. But they deem it was away from the play.
Well, that's Renata Fast once again with another good shot from the point. Just sifting it into traffic, creating some chaos and some trouble for Seattle.
3 minutes gone in the second period. Blair Turnbull scored 4 minutes into this one. 7th time that Toronto has scored in the first 5 minutes of a game this year. Monroe can't keep it in at the left point. Havage playing in her first ever PWHL game. 2 bodies up against her, and more closing in. Lobdell tries to help out. Pair of rookies out there for Seattle as Van Weeren comes the other way. Buglioni.
Really good back pressure from Buglioni. And got a line that don't expect a whole lot in terms of offensive production, but if they can spend their time in the offensive zone or come out of these games as an even, it's be huge for Seattle.
Fast with so much speed, just loses the puck. Tap toward the blue line by Buglioni. And now Wilgren. Wilgren across the logo. Drops it back. Mara Wagner. Tries to sneak past. Falls down against Harmon. Becky, I'm going back to what you said when we were looking at the highlights from the first period. Toronto continues to own the boards in this game.
They've done a really nice job. They'll get 2 in on the forecheck oftentimes. And again, if there's not some quick, close support for Seattle, then you're going to lose those battles.
So many times Seattle trying to break up ice along the sidewalls.
It's just not there, and that's a tough thing to do sometimes. Get your D to use the middle of the ice. It's a little scary to throw that puck to the middle, but that's the open space right now.
Another takeaway on the boards. Malte was able to get it away from Lexi Agia.
And listen, Steve O'Rourke had said that he wants that puck in the middle of the ice. He wants his centers carrying the puck, not always deferring to the flanks.
Flanagan's shot was kicked wide by Murphy. He's been under duress here in this second period. Toronto with all 3 shots in this frame so far. Agia tries to get to it. Shelton backhands it off of the lip of the boards in toward Murphy. Murphy played her college hockey at Colgate as Carpenter tries to spring some action. Carpenter shoots and a save by Kirk. On the face-off, but Toronto able to get it back for a moment. Zanin breaking away from Eldridge. Trade spots with Harmon, who turns up, pops it down, and Snodgrass back into Toronto's D zone. Serdachny again applying pressure. Easily taken away by Hjalmarsson.
Well, that was 3 Toronto players on 1 Seattle player. So you're trying to bring the puck into the zone. Eldridge had the puck. She's got 3 blue jerseys around her, so it's just a quick takeaway. Toronto back with possession now. They haven't gotten the puck with control down the ice, but they have been able to shut down everything else through the neutral zone.
Serdachny looking for a shot, and she was marked by Sheldon the whole way. Sheldon, the captain for Team Sweden at the Olympics, able to prevent Serdachny from getting one in on Kirk. Teralova has communication with Snodgrass, and Carter has to hustle to pick it up.
Once again, I think Serdachny has been one of the players that have brought some offense so far early in this game to Seattle.
Gentry able to field that with a beautiful behind the back. In from Bryant, and Murphy able to get it out of harm's way.
DeGeorge again in the slot with the puck. She has got to shoot that puck.
Nearly friendly fire from Brooke Bryan as well, and a great play by Gentry to set things up. Wraparound sealed off again by Murphy. She's been so sure on those wraparound chances. Spooner had one in the first.
I'd like to know the percentage of those that go in, because it doesn't seem very high to me.
It's so true.
I mean, hopefully, maybe you're just hoping that you can start something else out front, get a rebound or pop it out front, but certainly the goaltenders have the advantage on those wraparound shots.
Unless you have the goalie way out of position, right? That seems to be the main way that those are scored. Kirk comes out, stops the puck, throws it over to Shelton. Shelton played her college hockey at Clarkson as Gosling took a big hit at the blue line and is just now getting up. Toronto has numbers if they can take advantage. Gosling laboring as she goes to the bench. Shelton shot slapped away by the stick of Murphy. Gosling just getting to the bench now, and she'll be checked out. And she is on centering feed and flicked away by Brown. Can Wilgren get going? Wilgren picks it up fast in retreat. Dexter! And Wilgren slides all the way to the boards and trips her own teammate Agia. It's a mess out there right now. Renata fast. What a play. The hit to finish it off.
Well, this is when you know she's playing her best. I mean, she's been offensive. She's been carrying the puck, but when she gets back like that, she throws those hits. I mean, that is exactly what we saw from her all last year, and I think that game is really starting to come back for her since the Olympic break. And she has been good, but that was a play. I mean, you go into the corners with Renata Fast, you may want to think twice.
And just the ease with which she can make up that empty space and catch up to the play.
Well, and that's just it, because she can take chances offensively that some other players can't because she can get back.
Right. Serdachny, another fast player, trying to work past Spooner, and does. Serdachny 1-on-2.
That's been some of the problem on the offensive zone entries right now for Seattle. It's been 1-on. You need someone to dish to.
Malte end to end. Great play to gain possession for Emma Malte, but Keppel now has it. Renata Fast, another Clarkson alum. Reigning defender of the year, who who's starting to find that point production that she had for most of last season.
Clarkson is a D-producing school. It is incredible the amount of very good defenders in this league that have come out of Clarkson.
Erin Ambrose added to the list.
Haley Wynn, Harmon, Shelton. I mean, the list goes on.
No doubt. Monroe now out there with Flanagan. Said earlier in the game that Fast had 11 assists last year. That was just on the power play. She had 16 assists on the year. And again, most of those on the advantage. Just thrown ahead by Terralova, and Shelton retreats to pick it up, trades spots with Fast. And those two working in tandem nicely now. That was just under the stick of Hjalmarsson. So icing is the call. Fast coming off of 4 assists at the Olympics as well. Had one in the gold medal game on that shorthanded goal from Kristen O'Neill. And was part of Canada giving Team USA everything they could handle in another thrilling gold medal meeting. Backhanded shot from Gosling. Eldridge hacking at it. It's still loose. And finally cleared to the near sideboards. Gosling created the best chance of the day for Seattle. And that was after the big hit she took in her last shift. She seems all right.
Nice to see her come back and look just absolutely fine. She throws that backhand to the front of the net.
Eldridge tries to throw it to center ice, but finds a Toronto stick before it does Carpenter's. Passing here, Woods. Woods shoots. And knuckled down by Hannah Murphy.
That's a heavy shot. And that shot came off of her stick with a lot more pace than I think I expected. Maybe even Murphy didn't expect it to come off like that.
Bouncing puck to DeGeorge. DeGeorge, backhand centering feed broken up. It's been some nice plays by that fourth line. Emma Gentry had a behind-the-back play herself just a couple of shifts back. Already 11 minutes gone in this period.
They need to shoot the puck more, though. You're a fourth line, especially. You're not looking to get fancy with the size that line has. They've been really good in the battle game. You got to start throwing pucks on net and just trying to battle something in.
Agia tied up right at center ice. Puck saucers out to Serdachny. Serdachny to Agia. Agia sweeps it down low. Serdachny trying to hustle and put some pressure on Kurt. Wilgren seals off the board. Shoots! Redirected by Serdachny. Nice play by Wilgren to take advantage of the space. Looking for Snodgrass now. Serdachny with the feed. And again, it comes to the corner. Shelvin picking up her stick. Agia just away from the puck, and Serdachny again settling things down for the Seattle Torrent team. It's been outplayed most of this afternoon. One-timer, Serdachny pad save. Barnes stops and starts, shoots, and a blocker save. Seattle starting to string some chances together as they find some life. Wilgren shoots. Backhanded by Serdachny and swept behind goal again. Extended time now in the O-zone for Seattle. Toronto had a shift like this in the first. Barnes going back as they've been able to change out some players. This is Brooke Bryant now against Shelvin. Tries to go to Barnes, and it's intercepted by Gentry. Icing though. Face-off won by Langseth. Again, Toronto trying to clear this puck and get some fresh bodies on. They've been out there for a while after the icing. And a big face-off win by Langseth. Bounced off the stick of Harmon as they try to get it out. Delianita steps up though. Gentry thrown into the boards by Bryant, and it's kept in deep. Ticking towards 7 minutes left in this second period. In a period that has not had many stoppages. Bryant takes it away from Van Weeren. Bryant on her own misses wide. Had Delianitas to her left. Opted to shoot.
You got a fourth line that's trapped on the ice. They got one off. Comfortdale is now on, so they were able to get the right wing off. Everybody else has been stuck on a number of times. This line has tried to get the puck out. Seattle's done a nice job just to hem them in.
Shots 8-7 in the period in favor of Seattle. It's felt like a few more. Habish playing in her first ever PWHL game out of UConn. Habish with Dalton behind her. Flanagan able to poke it away. Wagner's out there now. This is the fourth line for Seattle this afternoon. Wagner tries to find Buglioni, but Dalton was in front of the play. Habish able to work past one. Carter now providing some help. Goes back down low. Wagner Harassed from behind by Flanagan, thrown in front and between Terralova and Carpenter.
And that unit once again doing a nice job getting in really quick. Just that pass out front was off.
Stretch pass as Carpenter gains the zone with Gosling and Eldridge. See if this is by design or maybe a mid-game change, but Gia now not out there with Carpenter and Gosling. It's back to Eldridge. Now they're icing. How about
that?
Jigs, we were about to say the same thing. Gold sequence.
You got to have some confidence to pull that one off. I don't know if I could do it. Kudos to that young fan.
I had a purple sequin shirt back in the day. I buried the tape on that.
You did?
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll be looking for the tape on that one.
Interesting is right.
You can see that.
Donna Summer wants it back, says our director. Here's Wilgren. Wilgren stepping up. Eldridge looking to find a teammate for a redirection, but it was off of a Sceptres shin. Seattle starting to even out the play here this period. Down low, Eldridge tries to find it. Eldridge settles it down. Gosling back to the top. Wilgren looking for a one-timer for Serdachny. Goes back to Wilgren. Dribbling puck. Serdachny tries to get to it. Pop back behind by Shelton. Shelton and Monroe. Again, Serdachny. This might be one of the best games she's played all year. No points yet for Seattle.
Well, the ice was tilted in the first in this direction. It's tilted again in the second. And Seattle's just had possession time. Toronto really struggling.
4:15 left in the second. Gia tied up with Malte, and Malte falls to the ice. No penalties yet in this second period. They've let him play. One-timer, Serdachny just missed as Kirk got a piece. She's had to be ready for these shots. Coming at her quick.
Here we go.
Danielle Serdachny is all around it right now. Taken out by Gia. Gia looking net front. And tap behind between the legs by Connors. Not out though. Kemple keeps it in. Serdachny again. Able to shoulder off one. Brown down low. Scooped up by Bryant. Bryant goes to Brown, and Serdachny's going to come off. Another great shift for 92 for the Torrent.
And they've made 2 line changes, and Toronto's still stuck in their zone.
Second time this has happened this period. Keppel lines up and misses wide. Bryant on the boards now. Able to keep it away from Spooner. Taps it over to Brown. Brown tries to keep it in the O-zone and does for the time being. This is Monroe. Monroe able to get it to the neutral zone. Spooner. Spooner all alone. A chance to score. And a kick save by Murphy. Buglioni tied up with Spooner behind the play. Fans don't like that at all.
Well, I think you had a combination of things. You had a hook and you had a hold. And Spooner was holding on to the stick.
Yep.
So I think there was a little hook there. But then Spooner was trying to sell it a little bit too much, and I don't think the official was biting. Could have called either, decided to call neither.
And after the play as well, right? That was after the Spooner shot. The puck was kind of moving away from the two of them.
And you got Seattle, who's really pressing now for that goal, and that's just a little flip pass, and Spooner takes off direct north to get herself that opportunity. It's a tough save for a goaltender when you've been standing there not busy for a good chunk of this period.
Have to take a look, but Murphy just barely able to get a piece with that left skate.
That looked like first-year Natalie Spooner.
This is Zanin. Zanin left side, cuts back in. Zanin throwing the stick out to try to get a shot off. It does not go, and she loses her stick now.
A nice move, and then a little stick check, and she loses her stick. So Toronto now with a little bit of pushback in the remaining two minutes of this frame.
This second period is flying by. All of the stoppages, for the most part, have been icing.
Well, there hasn't been a whole lot, and most of it feels like it has been in Toronto's end.
Action's been so non-stop, we haven't had a time to catch our breath. Kept in by Carpenter. Can they finally capitalize? 90 seconds left in the period. Carpenter winds up and can't get it through. Off of Jesse Comfer there. Another loose stick. We got 2 stray sticks on the sheet right now. Gosling in the corner against Turnbull. Gosling turns back, gets space. Gosling backhand shot. Kirk makes the save. It's loose. Oh, just wide of the close to it. They keep possession. Wilgren down to the end line. Carpenter and a save by Reagan Kirk. What a period. What a flurry of chances for the Seattle Torrent, but Reagan Kirk, number one between the pipes, pitching a shutout so far. Some stellar saves. The other game of the PW going on right now, Montreal home against Boston, a meeting of the top two teams, and it's the Victoire, but a 2-0 lead. Those two teams have not played since the first game of the year. We have an arm up. And Seattle's going to go to the power play, I believe, with 36.4 left.
Well, there's two things that can come of dominating in a period like this. You're either going to score goals or you're going to draw some penalties.
Toronto number 14 has 2-minute line of tripping.
So tripping call on Renata Fast. Seattle's trying to come out of the corner. They've walked out of that corner a couple of times last time for a scoring chance. So Fast just going to holding on for dear life, and this takes her player down. So she's going to go to the box, loses her stick in the meantime.
Just the second penalty of this game and first for Toronto.
Well, Toronto really back on their heels right now, and it's tough in the second period when you have a period like this because you're so far from the bench. It's very hard to get your changes in, and you've seen that too. And you get those long shifts, and it really takes a toll on the legs.
Our first look at Seattle's power play this afternoon. This power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel Paper Towels, powered through tough messes.
Talk about a power play that's had to adapt when you got no Hillary Knight, no Hannah Bilka. You start to get Grant Mentis accustomed to playing on it. Now she's out, so a lot of changes.
This is how it's looked on power play one since the break, with 2D, Terralova and Barnes on the first unit. The forwards are Carpenter, Gosling, and Eldridge. Just 3 seconds left in the period. Carpenter shoots, and it just hopped over the crossbar. Seattle nearly beating the buzzer, which they've done in periods this season. 1:25 left on their power play when we start the third. Face off at center ice. It's Turnbull out there with Monroe, Connors, and Harmon on the PK. For Seattle's power play, it's the top unit of Gosling, Eldridge, Carpenter, Barnes, and Terralova.
And Eldridge is really someone to watch here. She's kind of taken that net front role with some of the injuries, but she's so good down low, so keep an eye on her.
Averaging a point per game over her last 11, had just 2 points in her first 7 games with Seattle. Turnbull able to seal off the play on the boards, and now gains the zone, shorthanded. Turnbull with it, shoots, and Murphy makes the save. Shots in the second period, 11-8 in favor of Seattle. 46 seconds left on Seattle's only power play so far. Toronto's 0 for 1 as well, as Brooke Bryant took a minor in the first period. Seattle has struggled comparatively scoring even strength compared to a lot of other teams in the PWHL. Just 69% of their goals are coming 5-on-5 or 4-on-4. That is lowest in the league. Toronto on the other side, they're scoring 87% of their goals even strength. That is the second best percentage.
I guess there's two ways to look at that, right? Which is your power play isn't very good for Toronto. Your power play is pretty good for Seattle.
Barnes takes a huge hit, awkward into the boards from Shelton. She is still down. Oh, that's not good to see at all. Barnes on her back, and they have to blow the whistle here. We play on. Barnes continues to be checked on. She did not head to the locker room, which maybe a silver lining, at least for the moment. Right now, they're testing her mobility with that left arm.
Make sure that everything's in place.
That's head trainer Aisha Visram, who is checking out Barnes. Of course, we'll keep you posted if we see anything, whether she goes down the tunnel or comes back out on the ice. Seattle has to regroup, though. They're still chasing a 1-goal deficit 2 minutes into the third. And Right now they're without their top D, who gets the most minutes a game on this team, and is top 5 in the league in that category. Coming in now, Jalmerson tries to snap a shot. It just went past the far post. Check that, it was Comfort. Comfort now out there with Van Wieren hustling to the corner. Serdachny marking her. Serdachny just sealing her off and trying to jar that puck loose. Agia comes to help out. Keppel wags her stick at it, but breaking away for a moment is Zanin. Here's Monroe. Monroe gets rid of it before Serdachny comes to give her a hit. Flanagan now right point. Flanagan settles it down, throws it deep again. Keppel first to it. Keppel, an alum of Princeton University. Very good friends of New York's Sarah Fillier. Flanagan looking for a lane to shoot. Redirected, glove down toward Murphy. Kept out. Spooner trying to keep the pressure on, and Keppel is up in her grill to break up the shot.
That's Toronto activating those Ds. Flanagan walks to the line. That's Monroe that gets herself in a position to see if she can gain that rebound.
Monroe with it now. Puck end over end in the neutral zone. Shelbin lofts it toward the corner. Dell takes a hit in front. Turnbull, and it's gloved aside by Murphy. Turnbull has had multiple cracks at a second goal. Still just the one. 4 minutes in, our lone score.
That may be one of the best of the game. A great opportunity.
Langseth with it. Bryant shoots. Blocker save, Kirk. Dalton now. Aggressive play by Murphy to try to get it to the corner. Centering feet thrown in, and Murphy will cover the puck. Team's getting into it now after the whistle. Carpenter takes the face-off against DeGeorge. Eldridge tries to get it away from Fast. Now throws a shoulder against Connors. Over to Gosling. Just missed a streaking Terralova, but they keep it on the far side. Gosling able to ward off one, keep the puck on her stick, and toss it to Wilgren. Wilgren now playing with Terralova with no Caleb Barnes. Just off the outside of goal from Wilgren.
Gosling beat 2 players out of those near boards.
Terralova along the blue line. Wilgren seeing pass to the slot. Eldridge down to his knee, and the puck trickles to the right wing circle.
And again, just getting themselves in good position, not pulling the trigger, so they put some pucks on net.
Wilgren now tries to do just that and does, all the way in on Kirk, who makes a right pad save. Wilgren from an aggressive Connors. Terralova. Another pad save. That one off of Mara Wagner's stick, and one of her better shots of the season. Eldridge now down low to Wagner. Wagner, a Seattle native, coaches youth hockey in her free time as well. Terralova kicks it to keep it in. Wagner. Fourth line out there. Hit off of a Toronto skate. 3-on-2 here. They'll opt to throw it off of a Terralova glove and go for a wholesale change.
And once again, Seattle just piggybacking a couple of really good shifts.
This is Malte now. Malte trying to turn the script. Centering feed. It's still loose. And Murphy makes the save of the night. Claire Dalton had a clean look.
Well, I think Malte was trying to put that one through to Turnbull. It doesn't get through, but Dalton is coming in that second wave to get the opportunity. You know, Turnbull on the back door. The puck doesn't quite get through to her, but Dalton comes in late. And Toronto with a chance of their own. That speed, Emma Malte tries to saucer that one in. So there's a reason why you want 2 players driving the net. Toronto does a really nice job of that.
In on Murphy again, just wide. That was Turnbull. Another look at her second goal. Turnbull not done yet on this shift. Cuts back and leaves it for Fast. Fast with Snodgrass pressuring. Able to get the pass away. Nice pressure from Serdachny, Seattle. The other way. 3-on-2. Agia serves Serdachny. They're onside. Serdachny gets the angle. Rebound. Agia. Shot and another save. Kirk answers the bell. Oh, Agia just missed again. Check that. Snodgrass. Here are the Torrent. Fast now, ice starting to open up in this third period. Some more chances on the rush for each of these teams.
Oh, that's the thing when you have so much zone time, you eliminate those rush plays. So a couple of really nice rushes either way and driving to the net to pick up those second opportunities.
Snodgrass with Jalmerson on her back. Last time we had a 1-0 final in the PWHL. It was Boston over New York, 1-0. Gentry for Jalmerson, and her shot was broken up. Gentry again shoots wide.
She needed to one-touch that. She stick-handled it, lost her opportunity.
Gentry, Teralova. Back to Van Wieren. Van Wieren steps down. Had Carpenter in front of her. Bouncing puck redirected into the glove of Hannah Murphy. An exceptional start to this third period. Still no goals since the first. Reagan Kirk makes a couple of huge saves on this chance. Blair Turnbull, the captain for this Toronto team since year one. Last year was top 10 in the league in shots, hits, and face-off wins. I think as big of a name as she is, Becky, she still kind of flies under the radar at times and has been a huge part of this Toronto team's success and a leader that Troy Ryan can't say enough good things about.
Well, she's not going to put up huge points.
Right.
But she's going to do the little things. That's what he likes so much about her. Good defensively, good on the forecheck.
Each of these teams will play a takeover tour game before the season is over. Seattle's is coming up in Chicago against New York. For Toronto, they play in Winnipeg against Ottawa later in the year. Just out of the reach of an outstretched arm from Gosling. Seattle still chasing a 1-goal deficit. Turned over. Eldridge was looking for Carpenter. Dalton the other way with numbers. Dalton tries to get away from Teralova. Goes to the right side and tosses it to the opposite corner. Eldridge 1-on-2, sandwiched, but stays with the fight with Wilgren. Wilgren throws a hit, and it's cleared to the neutral zone. It does look like Barnes went to the locker room as a whistle blows from behind the play. Oh, too many players, it looks like.
Barnes did go down the tunnel, I believe, but she's back on the bench, helmet on, gloves on. Looks like we may...
And Eldridge is going to serve this 2-minute minor. Third penalty of the game, and the second time Toronto will go to the advantage here in a big spot.
That's a tough one to take at this stage of the game when you're looking to press and you need a goal. And Jesse Eldridge's going to sit this one, and Toronto's going to get another opportunity again on the power play, which, listen, the power play hasn't been great, but it's probably 2 minutes that Seattle is not going to be able to push for offense. And we'll take a look again and just count these up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, there's lots of white on the ice. Toronto was pretty close to one, too. They were in the midst of a line change when that puck went up along the boards, but ultimately it's Seattle who throws too many on and is going to get penalized.
This power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel, paper towel. 11:23 left. As Fast toes the line and goes all the way around. Eldridge serving the minor. It looked like Wilgren was the player who kind of got tied up, wasn't able to get to the bench in time after getting tangled up toward the neutral zone. Toronto just 4 power play goals on the year. That is second fewest in the PW. Off the outside, goal Comfort! And it's sealed off by Murphy. Might have made a kick save, might have missed just wide. Nonetheless, it stays a 1-0 game. Taking the one-timer Shelton. Goes back to Fast. Fast has Carpenter closest to her. And miscommunication with Turnbull. Quickly regaining the zone. Comfort, though, trying to catch Seattle in a change. Here's Connors. Connors shoots. Punch save with a blocker hand from Hannah Murphy. Shelton moving the puck quickly. Fast gets it back to Shelton. Shelton goes down low. Centering feed again. Might have been off the outside of goal, looking for Connors. 10:15 left in this third period. Toronto starting to even out the shots here in the third. It's 25-22 Seattle in this game. All the way in toward Kirk from Teralova. That'll take valuable seconds off of this Eldridge minor.
A couple really nice looks so far for Toronto. So imagine they'll take some positives out of that.
This is Harmon. Harmon looking down the end wall to Connors. Agia aggressive. Pushing Malte off the puck. Diving out Snodgrass. Remaining seconds of the power play. Spooner in close. And it was saved by Murphy again. 7 seconds left. Snodgrass throws it into Kirk, and that'll do it in 1 second. Looks like there will be 2 seconds left on the power play. They put 1 second back on the third period clock. So 2 ticks left on the too many players on the ice. Eldridge is out of the box. Woods all alone. Again, another awkward play along the boards. More bodies on the ice here in this third period. Sheldon creeping down the near wall. Gentry able to ward off Wilgren. Looks for a centering feed. Nice defense by Kemple. 9 minutes left. Seattle still looking for their first regulation road win in team history. Sheldon winds up, redirected by Eldridge and blocked. Didn't get in on Murphy. Toronto on the other side has won just 1 game in this arena this season. It was back in game number 2, December 4th against Ottawa. Huge turnover here. Jalmerson has all kinds of space, and it was redirected just wide. Again, Malte and the Sceptres hunting that second goal. Turnbull fresh on. Turnbull shoots and again misses wide. Toronto starting to take over some ozone time. Delianitas dishes it off. Brooke Bryant flips it deep. They'll change. Line shift's going to get tighter for both sides here, especially Seattle.
Seattle's got to get out of their zone clean. Couple of turnovers up at the blue line. Those ones can often come back to bite you. Everyone's looking to leave the zone, and you ring it up and give it right back to Toronto's D.
Triple header here on Sunday in the PWHL. Montreal up 3-1 at home against Boston early in the third period. And the takeover tour continues. In just about an hour in Denver. Second game at Ball Arena this year. Third ever for the PWHL in Denver. And that's between New York and Minnesota. An important battle for playoff standings as those two are in the top 4 right now.
Well, New York, who's just sitting on the cusp, Ottawa with the win, so they've jumped into that 4th place, but a bit of a logjam for that 4th spot.
Zanin able to absorb the hit from Carter and try to set up shop. Leaves it for Flanagan. Flanagan cutting down. Flanagan goes all the way around, throws it in front. Snodgrass was ready for it. Spooner pressuring Snodgrass at the end of her shift. Lobdell just throws it deep so many times of late. Becky, Seattle has spent so much time in the D zone. When they do get the puck, they're dumping and changing instead of pushing ahead. In front, double clutching, it's loose, glove save, Murphy. She's played great. Anna Murphy looking for her first win since early in the season. Makes a big one here on Natalie Spooner. Still a 1-goal game, 7 minutes left. Spooner and Toronto have been solid in the absence of Daryl Watts today, out with an illness. Emma Malte just took the face-off. She's 8 of 10 at the dot today, and that's been a huge swing in this game for Toronto, who was only winning about 46% of their face-offs through their first 3 games against the Torrent.
Well, really, most of the season they've been sitting around 46%. Malte has been the one bright spot there. She's sitting at about 53 and has been good all year.
Turnbull takes the most, but she's rated about 45%. 47% last year for Turnbull. Saw the Toronto power play not too long ago. They are 0 for 2 now with 5 total shots. Their most recent power play was stronger than their first. Seattle's taken late penalties in games that have cost him too. Jalmerson, one-timer, sliding save by Murphy.
What a save. She ripped that.
Jalmerson centering feed all the way through with a ton of speed. And sometimes on shots like that, Becky, you see the player who's winding up just not get all of the shot. That was not the case there. That was a missile.
That was a missile. Jessie Comfort, who made a nice play to cut to the middle and feed Jalmerson.
Here's Dalton. Seattle desperate to even out the ice here. Serdachny, who was all over the place in the first couple periods, has been neutralized here in the third. Only one shot for her in this final frame. Gosling lays a big hit against Turnbull, tries to get it to the neutral zone. Seattle desperate for possession here. Serdachny finishes off her shift. Terralova's still out there with Wilgren. Caleb Barnes went out of this game less than 2 minutes into the third period. She has stayed on the bench, but has not returned to the ice. Brown against Malte. Brown will beat her out. Malte never gives up on plays like that, though.
Well, she certainly doesn't, but you're starting to get down into the point in the period where Seattle's going to be looking soon to pull that goaltender. So situations like this where you get these offensive zone draws. Of course, you got Alex Carpenter coming onto the ice. No surprise there. Just under 5 minutes. You need a goal. You put your top line out. And again, Alex Carpenter, who's very good. Face-off dot, sitting around 60%.
Gosling now off the face-off. Seattle team. Gosling somehow got a shot, it seemed like out of nowhere.
Well, Seattle was slow to come in and support that battle on the wall. I'm surprised that Gosling was able to win that.
Right. Back to Carpenter quickly, though. Tries to get it across to Eldridge. And Renata Fast is there. That's why she's the best D in the world.
Well, when she's tasked to shut down, I think absolutely.
Looking at Keppel. Keppel shoots, and a save by Kirk. Carpenter was swarming. Only one of the 3 meetings between these two teams has finished in a 1-goal margin. And Kirk made a save through traffic. That came in quick from Terralova. That was the first meeting in Hamilton. Becky, you were there. 3-2 final thanks to the shootout win, pardon me. And Kirk, behind Aaron Frankel, has actually faced the most shootout attempts in the league this year, partially because they've gone to so many shootouts.
It's a whole different game, isn't it? Once you go to a shootout.
Boston has played by far the most shootout games, though. They've played 5. Aaron Frankel has faced 30 shootout attempts. Hannah Murphy still hasn't seen her first shootout in the PWHL.
I think anyone's really figured out what Aaron Frankel's weakness is with that many shootout.
You know, we're year 3 into this thing here in the PWHL, and I think not.
I don't think you deke her. I don't think you deke her. She's too quick, too good down low. I think you got to shoot.
Just got to fire. Terralova chips it ahead to Eldridge. Eldridge to Carpenter. Carpenter has possession. Can Seattle make something happen here? Carpenter backhand pass looking down low for Gosling and just out of her reach. Shelton turns up ice and it bounces to Terralova in the neutral zone. Shots now 11-10 Toronto in this third period. It's been the most even of the 3, though Toronto has shifted and tilted the ice for parts of this third.
Well, Toronto's had the better of the scoring chances in the third period so far, though they've had a couple of really good ones.
Murphy's made some big saves to keep this game within reach for the Torrent. Slapped away by the stick of Kirk. Battle behind Kirk now. And it pops out to Jalmerson. Jalmerson had one of the best looks of this period. A couple of them, honestly. But a one-timer not too long ago. And Murphy slid over to make the save for it. Snodgrass turns around and finds Carter. Carter goes across the line and missed Brown. They have to reset. Carter steps up, chips it deep, fast, peeks over her shoulder, takes a look, and keeps it moving. Brown now, Magia has space on the right side. Great spots with Serdachny. Can Serdachny pay off her 6 shots? She's looking to shoot, and she does, and it comes in on the pad of Kirk. Magia now backhand shot, another save, Reagan Kirk. She's up to 30.
Alexia Gia, a couple really nice plays along the wall in that shift. And the last one, just some good body position to be able to get herself into a position to take that puck to the net. It's like Hannah Murphy is coming out now. Gia, just nice little quick turn, gets body position, takes that one to the net on her backhand.
And Seattle is not afraid to pull the goalie quick. They did so in their last meeting against Toronto, and the Sceptres cashed in with 2 empty net goals, but they'll pull Murphy out for this faceoff with 1:57 left. Seattle works hard to win, and Eldridge is able to scoot it over to Wilgren. Eldridge now back to Wilgren. 147, 146, 145 left in regulation. Wilgren creeping in, shoots off the post! Carpenter back to Terralova, they keep it moving. Carpenter now, no Barnes. And she was injured earlier in this period. Wilgren, that time it was deflected by Dalton. Serdachny moves it along. Good job by Seattle here. They've scored with an extra attacker to come back before. They did it for their first ever win against New York. They scored 2 late power play goals, one of them 6-on-4. And got their first ever win in team history. Eldridge throws it in front, another centering feed, and Kirk keeps the post sealed off. Keeps that pad down and gets another couple of saves. 1:05 left. Fans starting to get into it. Wilgren goes to Terralova. Under a minute. Down low, Carpenter. Carpenter with it, back to Wilgren. Wilgren has a lane to shoot, and a big block by Dalton. Moves to the corner, back to Wilgren. Seattle's done a good job here. Terralova blocked again. Thrown wide by Carpenter, and Wilgren has to run back to pick it up. Quickly regaining the zone, though, Eldridge. Tied up at the left point. Here's Comfort. Just missed. Comfort with it, though. Seattle's got a scramble. And Gentry had a look at it, too. 20 seconds left. Can Seattle make something happen? Nice pass from Carpenter. Wilgren winds up. Serdachny's shot is blocked. This is Comfort again. All the way down, and this will be no icing. They wave it off. Capstan. Jomerson puts the finishing touch on this one. 2-0 in a thrilling sequence.
My, oh my. What a turn of events. Wilgren, who throws a puck off the post for an opportunity for Seattle. They aren't able to cash in, goes back down the other way. Jomerson, who, that's becoming her thing. She's got 3 goals on the season. 2 of them are empty netters as she puts this one in the empty net to give Toronto a little bit of a cushion here with just 6 seconds left. And Toronto, who had doing a good job getting in front of pucks, cleared Dalton a couple of times since that goaltender was pulled, got herself in front of a pair of them, keeping things away from Reagan Kirk, away from their goaltender to give himself a chance.
A chance and then some. Toronto looks like they're in line for their second win here at Coca-Cola Coliseum. Now, we do have a brief stoppage. I said on the call, wasn't sure if there was icing, but the linesperson waved it off, and play continued. Jomerson was able to cash it in. Now, every goal can be reviewed by the PWHL off-ice video review staff.
And there's a puck down the ice, but Jomerson was there first. So that negates the icing. She puts it into the empty net.
And that's the call. Kirk gloves it in fitting fashion. Her first career shutout. And the second win at Coca-Cola Coliseum for the Toronto Sceptres. They win 2-0. That does it for our coverage here from Coca-Cola Coliseum. Toronto fans hadn't seen a home regulation win since December 4th. They got one here this afternoon. Final score is 2-0. And Toronto will head on the road. Seattle can stay on the road. Goal scorers Turnbull and Jomerson. A big thank you to our broadcast team here in Toronto. For producer Garrett Hansford, director Jim Marshall, and my broadcast partner Becky Keller, I'm David Korzanowski saying so long and have a good rest of your afternoon and night. We'll see you next time from Coca-Cola Coliseum.